I dove through tons of old Big Sean interviews to find the hidden gems to see how he cracked the code to make it where he is. And there's a few things that I saw that happened in a lot of them, but one thing that was very consistent, he loves to say, you know what it is when he does his interviews.
You already know what it is, man, Big Sean.
Yo, you already know what it is, man, Big Sean.
You already know what it is, man, it's B.I.G. Sean.
Yo, you already know what it is, man, B.I.G. Sean. You already know what it is.
He had a lot of good gems, so let's dive into it on this week's episode of Cracking the Code.
So without further ado, hit that smash button and like it. Subscribe, it's awesome.
What's going on, everybody? It's Garrett from trakksounds back again with another episode of Cracking the Code. This is where we dive into old interviews from some of your favorite artists now to see what are a few points we can take from them to see why they were successful and got to where they are at. This week, we're doing Big Sean. But I do have a question of the day first, though. When was the first time you remember hearing Big Sean? I remember I heard him on a Hometown Hero remix forever ago. I can't even remember, maybe 2010. That was one of the first times I heard of Big Sean. But what about you? Let me know in the comments below. So diving into a bunch of these old interviews, maybe all the way back to 2010 and 2011. Three key things I could find for Big Sean going forward were taking advantage of his opportunities, having a positive mindset, and making music that he liked and believed in. So, let me get down real quick, put on my fancy dancy headphones. Go Saints, by the way. So the first takeaway point we're going to look at is taking advantage of your opportunities. Big Sean did this very well. Pretty much every single interview mentioned how he met Kanye. So that's something we'll dive into at some point too. It was basically the first question in every single interview, but there were some other valid things that came up. So we'll check out this one from bongoboy.com first. I think this was about 2011.
It's been my passion.
And then when did you think that you could actually make money off it and become professional?
Probably when I hit the 8th grade. It's like, man, I could probably do this for real, man.
And is it true that you actually were casting a check and then you went to the record studio and then rap for him?
So between junior and senior year was when Kanye was promoting his album for late registration. And yeah, I was at the bank cashing a check. You know, I was a telemarketer at the time, so I was getting like $100 and some a week. It was like definitely not worth it. And yeah, one of my boys hit me up and was like, man, Kanye down at the radio station, man, if you go rap for him, he'll sign you. And I'm like, man, whatever, you know. He's like, man, come on, let's just do it. Let's just try it. So, man, I ended up grabbing some CDs, you know, CDs that I just been, like, selling around school and stuff. And tried to catch him coming out the radio station, man. And since I've been doing that show there, they let me in. That's just how I got a chance to rap for him.
Wow. And then when, was it immediately after he signed you, or was it a process?
Oh, that was a long process. He didn't sign me on spot. You know what I'm saying? All I did really was just catch his ear that day when I rapped for him.
So one of the really big key takeaway points from that interview that I really liked was the fact that he heard about an opportunity, he jumped on it, he thought about it for a second and then realized it was stupid to even think about it, and he just went for it. And the other big key takeaway is he had been prepping for that moment. He had been doing contests and small little freestyles up at the radio trying to get his name out. So it wasn't like he was just sitting at home waiting for the opportunity to come to him. He was putting his name out before. That's why he was able to kind of crack the door and was able to finally actually rap for Kanye. So we'll come back to that interview in a second. We're going to go one with Damon Campbell of Music Is My Life. I think this is about 2011 as well. Some of these interviews crack me up, I'm not gonna lie.
Yo, what up, everybody? I'm Damon Campbell, founder of muiscmylife.com, here in Detroit, where it's finally famous over everything, boy.
Yeah, that's the best feeling, you know. It's just kind of like, even if I was to fail at it, I still made the right decision, you know. Even if I was still on my mom's house on North Line, 6 Mile in Wyoming, I still would have made the right decision because I didn't want to go to school. You know, I didn't want to do that. I just didn't want to look back and be like, man, I wonder what would have happened if I did do that, you know? Yeah. So I think that's just the sole purpose of, you know, the whole thing. It's just a proven theory that if you keep knocking on the wall, just like it's physics. I learned in physics that if you keep pushing on a building, like a human body keeps pushing on the building, eventually it's going to move a little bit, even if it's just a tiny task. So, you know, if you just keep on something, man, it's a proven theory that it's always going to come through for you, always. So that's what I'm doing. And, you know, I'm young as hell. It's just the beginning. So I still got a lot of hating ass motherfuckers out there, but, you know, we're going to take over the game.
Can't fail until you quit. It's one of my favorite pieces of advice I ever got. So he kind of embodies that right there, that he just kept it taking advantage of any opportunity he had, and he figured, why not? Next, we'll pull up one from Hard Knock TV. Talks more about how he met Kanye and exactly what he was doing at that radio station to get the end.
Did you have a rhyme prepared for him, or was it just like off the gut? You just went with whatever you had, or what?
This is a crazy thing. I was in high school at the time. It was when late registration came on. I had a good relationship with that radio station already because I've been doing a show there every Friday called the Friday Night Cypher, where basically rappers will come down there, they battle each other. Whoever wins the battles gets to rap on the air for free for like 30 minutes, or whatever the time was every Friday. But I was doing that every week, and I got a good relationship. And I was young as hell. Everybody was like 30 up in there, like old as shit. And I'm like, I was 16, 17 doing that. So I did it for so long. And at the time, I was 18 when or 17. I don't know, some shit like that. I was like 17 or something. And it was my junior year going to senior year that summer in high school. And Kanye was promoting his album, Late Registration, and he was there on a Saturday, and I was there the day before. So, I was cashing my $100 check.
And then we started off with last time with the cash and the check story, so you kind of know how that went from there. But this kind of just showed you how he prepped his way up there, and to give you a little more backstory on the Kanye thing, because I know that's something a lot of people want to know. So the next thing is, it's probably something Big Sean is actually kind of famous for already, is just a positive mindset. I think it really helped his career, because he's an extremely, extremely talented artist, but he is not a singer like a Chris Brown or a dancer, or, all types of other things you can think of, a weird, crazy look or something like that. He has just really good music, and he put it together, and he had to believe a lot, because he got turned down a lot before going into it. So we'll go back into the Damon Campbell interview, the one I love the most, and he gives a little insight to why he does it.
Like, it's tight to have the same people around me, too, because these are the same people who would support me when I had, like, 20 people getting hype in my shows, and it was, like, at Club Blue, and I would have, like, my girlfriend and her cousins and friends all in the front. They the only people getting hype. So now just to, like, a couple years later to be selling out Shane Park, Fillmore's, Fox Theaters, or, like, just theaters around the country, people knowing, repping Finally Famous, good music. I was in Denver yesterday, and somebody's holding up a FFOE shirt. And I was like, damn, this shit is getting for real, so.
Now, the first few times that I listened to your new single, So Much More, just like you, man, I'm no bitch or nothing.
So it just shows everybody started the same way you probably think you are. They start with 10 people in the crowd. No one really believed in them. You got to make a lot of people believe in you going forward. You might be lucky enough to have that small inner circle around you that does, but if not, you can't convince people that you want to be an artist or a rapper or a singer until you just go do it. So forget everybody else and just make it happen. The last thing that I saw in a lot of these interviews as well is Big Sean really made the music that he liked. He started a lot of his own flows. He really just kind of crafted his own sound and didn't really try to be like anybody else. We'll go back to the Bongo Boy interview and see what else he says about this.
You have to be unique, and what separates your music from all the others?
Man, I just feel like you just got to do what you want on music, Sometimes artists get lost in trying to make good songs instead of just making what naturally comes and what feels right. And I feel like that's what I try and do, in all my music, whether it be I'm talking about getting fresh, or whether it be I'm talking about being broke, being in a relationship, or whatever I'm going through. That's the soundtrack to my life at that point.
So there he kind of talks about why he makes different style music and how he felt different. And then in this Rock the Bells interview, he had a really good take about what Drake said about his flow and how people kind of took from him and how you can find inspiration from other people. And it's not necessarily biting somebody per se.
I mean, I was reading the quote last night from Drake about how he said that, quote, first person to use that flow throughout the duration of a verse was Big Sean. I'll give him that credit.
Yeah. Man, honestly, Drake is my homie. That's a real G right there. And I did a song in 2008 called Super Duper, where I did that one line punch flow, the Nemo, chemo, that I did that. And Drake said that's where he heard it from, and he said he thinks that's where he got it from. That's where he thinks a lot of people got it from. Ye, Jay, that's what he said. I take my hat off to Drake, and the whole industry use that style I made up, man, and that's flattering, honestly. That just goes to show me what I could do. That just goes to show what I can do as an artist, man, and I'm gonna change the game for sure, yeah.
And that's a good one to end on right there. I didn't even mean to plan that with that note. And yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. If you mess with Big Sean's music, if you like some of the gems he was pointing out throughout the interviews, and who you want me to do next. There's all types of artists out there. I got a couple good ones coming up next, but let me know in the comments for that as well. And until next time, I'll see y'all then. Peace.
Smash it! Smash the like button. Please like this channel.